Hello, I am Baal Kadmon, and I would like to thank you for watching and or listening to this podcast. Today I would like to announce the pre-release of my much-awaited course on Lilith called Lilith Transcendent, From Myth to Truth. And let me tell you, it's a monster of a course. It's now in pre-release, so if you enroll now, you get a pre-release rate, and all the videos will be uploaded by June 1st. This is massive. I mean, we're already hitting about almost 80 videos, and it's still growing. So today I just want to show you a preview of one video in which I discuss the various translations of the book of Isaiah where we find the name Lilith for the first time in the Hebrew Bible, and something really interesting about not only the Greek translation of that same verse, but also the Latin one. And although I'm not a big fan of the Vulgate, the Latin Vulgate, the Vulgate and the Hebrew seem to align as to what Lilith actually is. And it's very interesting. So I do hope you enjoyed. You can actually enroll now in the pre-release at www.occultcourses.com/Lilith, and you can see more about the program as well. So here's a video from the program. I hope you enjoy it. As we discussed in a previous video, we first see the mention of Lilith in Isaiah chapter 34, verse 14. Now, we're going to take a look at this. We're going to take a deeper look at this verse, but from a few different vantage points. So again, let me just read it out again in English. And the wild cats shall meet with the jackals, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. Yea, the night monster shall repose there, and shall find her a place of rest. Now, in the English translation, we see Lilith referred to as the night monster. And I said in other translations, they have the night bird and the night owl, the screech owl, and all of that. So we have this confusion as to what she is in this verse, right? Because the fact that they translate it so differently all the time. Now, this is where it gets very interesting. If we look at the Greek translation of this verse in the Septuagint, which is the first official Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible, we see the following. And devils shall meet with satyrs, and they shall cry one to the other. There shall satyrs rest, having found for themselves rest. Now notice, it doesn't even mention Lilith. It doesn't mention her at all, at least not by name in the English. It only states that the satyrs found themselves rest. They also happen to forget about the wild jackals and the wild cats and all of that. And I say with 100% certainty, the English translation of this Greek is not an accurate translation of the Greek. Now, if you look at the word that should be Lilith, it's onokentaros, and that is onocentaur, a creature that is part donkey, part man. There is no direct equivalent of a Lilith in the Greek text of the Septuagint itself, which I find odd, and I'll tell you why I find this odd in a moment. So the Greek is a bit of a dead end, and can't really tell us anything of what those writers thought Lilith was. I mean, clearly they thought she was like some type of mythological creature. But let's look at the next translation, and it gets even closer than the Hebrew in many ways because it makes more of a direct tie to the reputation of Lilith that she developed in Judaism than the original Hebrew. And oddly enough, this translation is using a Greek word which probably should have been used in the Septuagint but was not, and I have no idea why. So, let's look at this translation. And this translation is the Latin Vulgate, right? Not my favorite translation in the world, okay? But it does have an interesting take on this verse. Now, it's Isaiah chapter 34, verse 14. It says, "And demons and monsters shall meet, and the hairy ones shall cry out one to another. There hath the Lamia lain down and found rest for herself." Now, this translation also forgets the jackals and the wild cats, but look what it calls Lilith. Lamia. They actually called what should have been Lilith Lamia, and this is significant. Now, in Greek stories, Lamia is a figure who was originally described as a queen of Libya who became a child-eating daimon. And according to the myth, Lamia was a beautiful queen loved by Zeus, but after Hera, Zeus's wife, learned of their affair, she took revenge by killing all of Lamia's children, or forcing Lamia to kill them herself, and transforming Lamia into a monster who hunts and devours the children of others. In grief and envy, Lamia's transformation included having a serpent-like lower body and sometimes the ability to remove her eyes. Now, the story suggests that Zeus, in pity, gave her the power to remove her eyes so that she could rest from her incessant jealousy and grief, but this aspect varies by source. So over time, Lamia's story evolved and diversified. In later traditions and folklore, Lamiae, plural, came to be a description of vampiric monsters or demons in female form, seducing young men to consume their blood or life force. Now, let me tell you, if that's not how the Jewish tradition sees Lilith, I don't know what is. And I find it so ironic that the Septuagint didn't call her Lamia, but the Vulgate did, which of course usually quotes directly from the Septuagint, but in this case it did not. And I'm very confident that the Hebrew and the Latin are accurate here. In fact, there is another element of Lamia's story that ties in with Lilith, making me think the Latin writers knew exactly what Isaiah meant when he wrote Lilith in his book. But you know what? I'm going to discuss that in the next video on the alphabet of Ben Sirah, because I'm going to tie it all together. You do not want to miss that. See you then. Well, that is it. I hope you enjoyed that video. Again, this program isn't pre-release, but you can get in now at the pre-release rate. You can go to www.occultcourses.com/Lilith to get in early. And then once it's released by June 1st, it obviously will be out of pre-release and it will be at its full rate. Program is a monster of a program and has been in the works for quite some time, and it really goes deep. There's things here that you just won't find anywhere else. Anyway, that's it for me. I'll see you soon. So mote it be.